Hola, 5th grade. Today we're on lesson 117 and we're going to divide a decimal by a whole number. The new concept is found on page 768 and it says, dividing a decimal number by a whole number is like dividing money by a whole number. We'll leave it here for now. We've divided amounts of money by whole numbers. We're splitting $2.32 up into 4 equal groups. We've done that. We're just going to basically eliminate the dollar sign and then maybe switch up the amount of decimal places. Maybe sometimes we won't have a whole number in there. It says the decimal point in the quotient is directly above the decimal point inside the division box. So if we have 0 and 32 hundredths, your decimal point goes straight up. 4 goes into 0 0 times, and you can multiply 4 times 0 is 0 if you want to. You bring the 3 down. 4 times what is 3? It goes in there 0 times. Bring the 2 down. 4 times 8 is 32. You end up with an answer of 0 and 8 hundredths. Okay, it says the memory cue up reminds us where to place the decimal in the quotient. We will later learn a different rule for dividing by a decimal number. There's a decimal chart found on that page, and hopefully they make you copy it in the lesson. We'll copy it tomorrow. Okay. It says we sometimes need to use one or more zeros as placeholders when dividing decimal numbers. Here we show this using money. Suppose that 12 cents, so we have $0.12, is split up evenly between 3 people. Okay? When you divide by your decimal, you bring your decimal straight up. 3 goes into 0 0 times. 3 goes into 1 0 times. 3 goes into the number 12 4 times. And 4 times 3 is 12. You have no remainder. You do have to represent the tens place value with a 0. If you forget, then you're showing that 4 tenths is the same as 4 hundredths, and it of course isn't. So the 0 does have to hold a place value if it lies between your decimal point and your last digit. Okay, let's look at example number 1. Example number 1 says, for an art project, Corbin must cut a length of ribbon in half. The ribbon is exactly 4 8/10 meters long. If he cuts the ribbon correctly, how long will each length of ribbon be? Okay, he's cutting this ribbon in half, so he's cutting it in 2 equal parts. 4 divided by 2 is 2. I'm going to bring my decimal point straight up, bring my 8 down. 2 times what is 8? 2 times 4 is 8. And I have no remainder. I don't think they will give you any remainders when dealing with dividing decimals by whole numbers. If they do, let's just write it as a remainder, whatever you end up with. Okay? But we of course don't have a remainder, so we don't have to do that right now. So example 1, 4 8/10 divided by 2 is 2 4/10. Example 2. We're dividing 0 and 42 hundredths by 3. Okay, I'm going to bring my decimal point up right away. Sometimes you forget, sometimes I forget, but as long as you bring it directly or straight up, it won't affect the value of your number. 3 goes into 0 0 times. 3 goes into 4 once. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 goes into 12 4 times. 4 times 3 is 12. We again have no remainder. My answer to 0 and 42 hundredths divided by 3 is 0 and 14 hundredths. Okay, example 3. This is example 2. Example 3 says divide 0 and 15 hundredths by 3. Bring my decimal straight up. 3 goes into 0 0 times. 3 goes into 1, 0 times. 3 goes into the number 15 5 times. 5 times 3 is 15. Subtract, you have no remainder. Your answer to example number 3 is 0 and 5 hundredths. 0 and 5 hundredths. Okay, they do give us another example, example 4. For example 4, we're dividing 0.0024, or 0 and 24 ten-thousandths, divided by 3. Okay? I'm going to bring my decimal point straight up and make sure I put zeros wherever I need to represent the place value. 3 goes into 0, 0 times. And I know that 0 times 3 is 0. I know that if I subtract 0 from 0, I'll get 0. So I'm not even going to multiply over here. 3 goes into 0, 0 times. 3 goes into 0, 0 times. 3 goes into 2, 0 times. 3 goes into the number 24 8 times. And 8 times 3 is 24. Subtract, and you are left with no remainder. So it is important to represent the ones place, the tenths place, the hundredths place, the thousandths place, and then finally the 10,000ths place with an 8. The rest of those place values are filled in with zeros. Again, this one's maybe a little bit unnecessary, but these absolutely have to be here. Okay, I'm going to do one practice problem. You can do that. You can place that one practice problem on the example 5 line. Example 5, let's do example M. It says a gallon is about 3 and 78 hundredths liters. About how many liters is a half gallon? Okay, if 1 gallon is 3.78 liters, then a half of a gallon would be exactly half of that. So to find a half of this gallon, represented by 3 and 78 hundredths liters, I'm going to divide it by 2. 2 goes into 3 once. Okay, I didn't bring my decimal up, so I'm going to bring it straight up. 2 goes into 17 8 times. 8 times 2 is 16. And 2 goes into 18 9 times. 9 times 2 is 18. And I'm left with no remainder. My answer is 1.89. I do need to label it liters. So 1 and 89 hundredths is your answer. And we're doing that for example 5. Now, I guess that's all for today. I will see you tomorrow. This was lesson 117. We only have 118, 119, 120, and then maybe a Roman numerals lesson or something. So moving right along. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night.